All right, Miguel, I think we're ready. The countdown's over on YouTube. It just says it's waiting for us. Good morning, Richmond High. We're going to start in about 2 minutes. But students know that we will be doing a Kahoot. So if you want to get a screen ready for that. And Kahoot tip, if you want it easier on yourself, do it on your tablet or your computer versus your phone so you can actually see the questions and the answers on the right buttons. Oops. And then, so today's topic, we're going to talk about when you're thinking about your future, choosing your college or whatever your post-secondary pathway, things to think about is what we're going to do. And just like the previous ones, students, if you have a question, put it in the Zoom chat with your teacher, and that your teacher will share it with us. And thank you for joining. We're hoping this will help you and make it so that you choose the right fit for you. Not what everybody else says you should do, but what's best for what you want to do. All right, we're gonna get started. And we're gonna kick off with Edith. Miss Edith is gonna talk about how to build your list and what to think about when you're doing that.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. So we're gonna start off with making your college list and the types of schools, just according to stats that you need to have on your list. So there's a combination of different levels and things that you need on your list. The first one being safeties. So make sure you have at least one safety, and a safety is a school in which your grades and your resume, so when we were taking SATs and ACTs, so your SAT and ACT scores or your activities are above the average of an accepted student. So if the average for an accepted student is like a 2.0 and you have a 3.0, then that could be considered a safety. But it's also important to consider that even though it's a safety, you're not guaranteed acceptance into any school. The second type of school that you should have is a match school, and try to have at least 2 of those. And that is a school in which your transcript looks similar to that of the accepted freshman. So that could be your GPA, SAT and ACT scores, and coursework or activities are all typical for the admitted students. And again, there's no guarantee that just because you meet those things that you will be accepted, because extracurriculars, essays, letters of rec, and all of that play a big role in acceptances if they ask for them. And then another one is to try and put in a stretch or a reach school and try to have one of those, and that's a college where your academic qualifications are below the accepted student. So if you're really set on a school, but your GPA or your SAT scores don't quite match that of the accepted freshman, then you can still shoot your shot, but just try and, bring it up with essays, extracurriculars, letters of rec, and you're not guaranteed anything, but it could happen. And then make sure to include at least one local school. So that could be like a CSU East Bay or an SF State. And those schools have a service area or a local area. So local students do have a little bit of an edge in those schools. And then try to only apply to schools that you would actually consider going to. Don't apply to schools that you would never consider going, because if you're a low income student, you might get some free applications, but not all of them are free. So again, just apply to schools that you would consider going to. And I'm going to pass it off to Sergio.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So kind of like how Edith was talking about, when you're deciding where to apply to school, you have different options, whether you want to stay local in your community, you want to go somewhere far away, you want to go out of state. So here's some things to consider when deciding where you want to apply to. The first one is availability of a specific major. Some schools are known for a specific major, whether that's their specialty. They have people who've graduated there who've gone on to do some pretty amazing things. So depending on what it is that you're interested in doing in life, do some research about the majors there and see which school would be a good fit for you. Another one is availability of programs for working students. It's very common for students to work while in college. There are different kinds of job opportunities there, whether it's through a work-study program, which gives you money based on being able to work a certain amount of hours, or just being able to find a job through like there's university unions. Academic reputation, what's the reputation of the schools? Obviously some of the more older schools, they've been around longer and they've developed a reputation where, students who go there and who have graduated from there, end up doing some good things. Cost of attendance is definitely an important one. Obviously there's different price ranges based on the different kind of university you want to go to. So taking a look at how much it would cost there to go for a year, sometimes some schools, they will give you your financial aid package, but it might not be the best fit because maybe they didn't give you as much as another school. So, it's something to keep in mind, when deciding on where to go. Setting an environment, depending on what kind of, I guess, what fits your personality. Are you the kind of person that likes to go to a school where it's a little bit more open, like more greenery, or maybe you want to go towards like a university where it's more like a city setting? School size, obviously, you have different kinds of schools, whether it be like public schools or private schools where the class sizes matter. Some schools you'll have the class sizes will be a lot smaller than like a public setting. It ranges maybe for having classes where like it's like a 30 to 1 student ratio, or it's like a 500 to 1 student teacher ratio. So something to keep in mind. Distance from home, like I was talking about earlier, when you're applying to college, you're going to have different opportunities and you're going to have different schools to look at. So how far you want to be away from home is a key important factor to take into consideration, whether you're a person who wants to stay locally, you feel comfortable in your area, or you want to go out and explore the world, see different places, that's something to keep in mind. And as well as kind of as I was talking about earlier, class sizes, like depending on whether you feel more comfortable being in a class size, maybe similar to what you guys are in right now, or maybe you want to be in a class size where there's, a couple hundreds of people, so there's more people for you to meet, but it might be a bit harder maybe sometimes to get to know some other people as well. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Angie.
Thank you, Sergio. Buenos dias, Richmond High. So that's only half of the criteria that you should really be considering as you're identifying which colleges you want to add to your college list. The other thing that you maybe want to consider is the availability of faculty, meaning are professors available to students where you can engage beyond what is office hours and having to make an appointment, but you can really just build a relationship, get to know them, maybe even have dinner together at the dining commons. So really just getting to know your professors outside of your class time. The other thing is diversity of student body. Are you looking for a campus that is very diverse? And when you think about diversity, think about diversity as a geographic thing where maybe you have students that are coming from multiple states across the United States or multiple countries. I mean, do you want to be able to meet people that grew up completely different from you? Or are you looking for something that maybe most of the students are from very local areas that you might be familiar with? Same thing with the ethnic and racial diversity. How important is that to you? And do you want to be in a school where most of the people don't really look like you, or would you feel more comfortable if you felt like you can identify with your peers and even with the faculty, right? Are you considering getting involved? Student organizations, does the campus provide a lot of opportunities to get involved in various clubs or activities, or are they limited? Something for those of you, again, you start kind of all over in college. You are building your resume right now, you're building, your application, you're trying to participate in different things, have leadership roles. It's a similar process once you go to college. It doesn't end at high school. It continues. Even after you graduate, you're always trying to build that resume. So getting involved can be really important depending on what your career goals are. Athletics. Think about athletics not only as far as what sports they offer or what opportunities around athletics are offered, but also the level of competition. Right? Not all colleges offer Division I NCAA. Some of them, they offer Division II, Division III. Some of them have NAIA programs rather than NCAA. Some of them have intramural programs. So you want to think about athletics not just as far as the sport that you're looking to play, but also or support, right? Maybe you're just a big fan of certain types of sports and you want to make sure you go to the football games on Saturday or the basketball games. Think about also the level of competition, and then placement rate into jobs in grad school. I know we're getting you to think about the college, so graduate school might seem a little bit out there sometimes, but you want to think about if you're looking to go into a specific field, check out, how does your college that you're considering rate as far as like being able to get students placed into jobs, right? Do they offer college fairs? Do they offer support for students looking to go and pursue graduate school or graduate degrees, right? So think about that as well. And then housing is a very important one because housing can also be very expensive sometimes. And if you're trying to live on campus, you want to consider not only are there opportunities for you to live on campus and what do those rooming situations look like, right? It might be that you have to share a suite with 5 other people, or do they have, triples that may be a more affordable, or a double, or how far are they from campus? But also with housing, is it mandatory? You want to keep in mind, are you mandated to stay in the dorms at that high school for your first year? Because then you want to think about financially what that means. For example, San Jose State requires freshmen to live within a 30-mile radius from their campus, which guess what? Richmond High, Richmond, San Pablo, all of these areas are not within that 30-mile radius, which means you have to go live on campus. So it's just something to consider as you are creating your college list. Back to you, Ms. Jan.
All right, thanks, Angie and Sergio and Ida. So now we're gonna do the Kahoot. So students, get ready just for the Kahoot. We wanna make sure that for your name, you put your first name and your ID number because we're gonna put together some prize packages and based on stuff we have. And so the top 3 to 5 players, the ranks, we're gonna send some prizes to you. And that's why we need your name and your ID number so we make sure it gets to the right person. And like I said at the beginning, it's easiest if you do this on your tablet or your computer. All right, there's the pin for you guys to join. Time's sake, we're gonna give you about 1 minute to get in and join.
I recognize some of those names. That's exciting.
I hope there isn't a Kahoot capacity. We'll be in trouble. See, like free win, I'm not gonna know who you are. Oh, look, I'm dead. There's one I saw that I need to delete. All right, you guys got about 30 more seconds before I have to lock it. Yep, starting to see more people I know. See some teachers are gonna play. All right, we're gonna lock. They're still coming in, but I'm like, we need to get started. So I'm gonna get started, but not lock it. So if you're still joining, you might just miss the first question. Okay, so this is a this or that on your post-secondary priorities. So the first question is gonna be, how often do you wanna come home? Whenever you want, or 2 to 4 times a year? All right, well, W, I can't give you a prize, but you're in first place, and Andres T, you're in second place. Second question, what class size do you want? 500 to 1 or 30 to 1? The picture's reversed, so this is 30 to 1 and this is 500 to 1. Example is my first year at Santa Barbara, my lecture hall capacity was 700 to 800 students. The answers are coming in faster now. Oh, Joe Biden's playing. What? Okay. What are you willing to pay? $2,000 of $36,000 cost of attendance, or $10,000 of $26,000 cost of attendance? And that's like true facts. Like that really happened. Like we had a former student who went all the way to New York because she only had to pay $1,000, but if she would have stayed in state, she would have to pay way more. What? Y'all rather pay more? That's crazy. Well, the mystery wallaby is in first place, but they can't get a prize because I don't know what student that or teacher that is. How do you feel about loans? I'll take a loan if I need to. I don't want to take out loans.
Just a point of comparison, I took out $8,500 for my bachelor's degree, and my monthly payment after I graduated was $87, which was less than my cell phone.
All right, this little split. All right, ethnic and racial diversity on campus. Do you want 10% of people that are Black, Indigenous, or people of color, or 40 or more percent of Black, Indigenous, people of color? So just so you know, we have the historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, that are open to everybody, that will be way more diverse than some of the traditional universities. And then there are schools that have what's called an HSI school, which is a Hispanic designation, or Hispanic serving institution, which means they at least have 25% Latinos on campus. You guys don't want diversity? That's surprising. All right. It'll be like reverse Richmond High. What type of support services do you want? Support resources for each BIPOC, LGBTQ, Dreamers, First Generation, etc., or a limited number of supports not specific for different groups? All right. What's your priority for your major? Has the exact major I want? Has something like it, but not quite. All right. Oh, that's a big shift. Joe Biden and the Wallaby are no longer up there. All right. What type of environment do you want? Do you want like the rural country, lots of farmland around you, or do you want more of an urban city environment? So for context, this is UC Merced and this is UCLA. All right, you guys want some open spaces. All right, what type of neighborhood environment do you want? Do you want like a downtown, lots of tall buildings, think downtown San Francisco, New York City, or more of a residential suburban feel? And actually, this campus here on the right, that's more residential, that's San Francisco State. If you've ever been to San Francisco State, it's very far from downtown. All right. What environment do you want around the campus? Surrounded by trees, nature, minimal pollution, surrounded by buildings, more concrete. So the one on the left, that's UC Santa Cruz, which is in the middle of the Redwoods. And then this is actually Drexel University, which is in Philadelphia. Okay. I had to move a little bit faster because we're running out of time. How important is off-campus life? Do you want limited entertainment options, or do you want so many options that you don't have time for them all? How far from campus do you want entertainment options? Clubs, concerts, movies, shopping, etc. A 10-minute drive or a 30-minute drive? Or sometimes it's a bus ride. So 10-minute bus ride, a 30-minute bus ride, an hour bus ride. They're willing to go far. All right. How large of a campus population do you want? 3,000 students, which is double the size of Richmond High, or 30,000 or more students, which would almost be a sellout at AT&T Park? So insider, if you want a small campus, it's going to be some private schools and some of the smaller CSUs, some out-of-state schools. How important is availability of professional experiences like research opportunities, internships, and a career center? A required experience, mean you have to do it to graduate, or optional, you only if you want to? And if you guys can hang with us, we have like 2 more left, and we're going to go a little bit over, and I apologize. How easily do you want access to professional experiences? So to get those internships, recruitment's done on campus, or you have to look off campus or outside on your own. And this picture is actually from Cal Poly SLO. San Luis. Well, Brisa's got a lock on this. How do you feel about housing on campus? It's mandatory to live at least 1 year on campus, or it's optional to live on campus. And this is different types of housing all at one campus, which is mine and Mr. Gate and Mr. Gonzalez's favorite campus. These buildings on the left didn't exist. No, this building on the top didn't exist when me and Mr. Gade were there. It's new. Oh, it's closing one. See, you gotta get this one to pass Brisa. How much do you want to pay for off-campus rent? $400 for your own room or $750 to share a room? They all want to pay more to share a room. All right, in third place, we have Brian. Congratulations, Brian. In second place, we have 1. And in first place, it's gonna be Brisa C. Brisa C's teacher, if you could let me know her ID number so I know who Brisa C actually is, that'll be helpful. And so we're going to conclude. We didn't have time for Q&As today, but students, if you have a question, I will be posting the slides in your homeroom or the Google Advisory. You can ask questions there. You can also tell your teachers your questions, and we'll do a digest of the questions. And then for teachers, they're in the PowerPoint. When I send it to you, there are 2 follow-up activities for you to do on other days with your students. To talk about this more. One is for you to share why you chose the campus you attended. You can talk about the qualities we went over, and then it's for the students to do a search, which actually lets them put all their choices, and then it spits out a list of schools that match that would be good for them. And that's the conclusion of Homeroom Live number 5. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have a good day. Richmond High.